Welcome to the Author It Again podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Ross.
And that's it.
That's it. Just us.
Just us tonight, or today, or this morning, depending on what time you listen to it. What's he say in Truman Show? Is it good day, good afternoon, if I don't see you later, good night or some shit? Yep. I never saw that movie. It's
Dude, it is
terrible of me.
Mandatory watch. I have seen it so many times now, and it is just better every time.
I think it came out when I was in college, and like I was around it enough to get the gist of it.
Yeah.
That I was like, he figures out it's all fake, right? And then like I just didn't.
Well, it's like Shutter Island. Like once you know the twist, everybody's like, I don't need to watch it. So it was 1998.
So I was still in high school. Never mind.
Man, that show is that movie.
And you were in middle school.
I was
or upper elementary school.
I was 7 years old. Yep.
In 1998.
Yeah.
Seriously, you were born in the 90s?
I was born in 91.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't think you've ever said that number out loud before.
Well, it's not that bad because now it's like, oh yeah,
So there's actually 11 years between us then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Glucker and I are the same age.
Right. It's not that bad. I mean, I don't know how much you've been following F1, but Fernando Alonso, when he was he was 22 years old when one of the new drivers was born, and he had already been racing.
I have been watching F1. I've been super sad for McLaren.
Fuck! Oh my god, it's hard.
Yeah, we're not gonna spin off into that. So
we were joking around last night after watching this, and I was like, I might have to paint my McLaren colored themed room a different color after this. Oh, it's devastating.
It's not good. But It is fun at the top because it's not just one team dominating everything. It's like a mix of random bullshit. And I kind of enjoy Mercedes sucking.
It's great. I am sad that Mercedes is having a hard time. I am happy that Max did not win this week.
Right. So
his dad is a fucking tool.
Is this a season where like Checo gets the title? Remember like the Nico season? Like,
yeah.
Is this the Checo season?
I don't think so. I think when it comes down to it, Max is better under pressure.
Yeah,
he's faster in quality, and like barring any mechanical failure, he's out in front by a big enough gap that something bad would have to happen for him to not win.
Right.
But
I can root for Checo all year and hope that's what happens, just because I know it'll piss Max off.
Just root for Checo's dad all year.
Yeah,
that's a hero.
Cool. Well, sweet. Do you want to talk about things that you've driven that I have no images of at all?
Yeah.
Because I can't pull up our group chat. Like that's the only pictures I've seen.
If you Google BMW X7. Yeah, so I had an X7 and we drove it from here out to Mystic, Connecticut for a night.
Oh, you did send me like a beach photo.
We drove down to the like the lighthouse spot, which weirdly there's no lighthouse, even though it says lighthouse on the Google Maps. So
does it really?
It does, I swear to God. I got out of the car and looked around, I was like, maybe there used to be a lighthouse here, but there was not. So it looks like that. It is troubling from the front end, but
there's a lot going on.
It looks like one set of BMW front end is trying to like climb through the front of another one.
So you obviously the kidney grill, but then like this feels like a Hyundai.
Yeah,
merged with like a Cherokee,
Jeep Cherokee. Yeah, and Nissan Juke. Like, thank those guys for the weird headlights. But
and then you come down here and it's like, oh, sorry, here's my Kia.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just all over the place.
Yeah, so the front end is not attractive, but the profile is good. It has a clamshell trunk door, so like a Range Rover or a Land Cruiser pops open, and then it has a seat, which didn't know until it arrived. Amazing. That's like every SUV should have that. There's no question.
I'm not gonna lie, like we'll get to it later, but like I love a clamshell rear gate.
Same. I was looking at the Lexus afterwards. I was like, how much work would it take to make one?
To cut your door in half?
Well, not my door. I'd get another door and then cut it in half, and then have to fabricate hinges from the top and the bottom and some kind of locking mechanism.
I'll put a flyer out to Ron. He likes fabrication.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure all the
here's the aftermarket world of the Lexus GX, Ron. We're gonna make tens of dollars.
Yeah. No, we wouldn't.
No.
So anyway, so the X7 is, I mean, it's a phenomenal cruiser. It was on snow tires, and I think it was, on 23s, and it was still like dead silent at speed. We used less than half a tank of gas driving from here to there and back, and driving around a bit while we were there. So, and that's
what's the powertrain in it?
That's a great question. I genuinely didn't even look. I assume it is the straight 6. I don't know. Like, okay, entry level X7 is powered by a 375 horsepower turbocharged inline 6-cylinder. Thank you, car and driver. But yeah, no, the seats are, it's BMW. The seats are amazing. It's, troubling when you look at it from the front, and troubling when you can't figure out how to turn off the gesture control. It has the gesture, like, oh, raise the volume, spin your finger to the right while holding your hand in front of the screen.
Oh no!
Which, when you don't know that, you don't remember that it has that, and can't figure out why the volume and tracks keep changing, you're like, what the fuck is happening?
I have so many people who talk with their hand jokes right now. Like,
man, yeah, the jokes write themselves. So, but other than that, it's like, this one was like 90 something, and it's like, for luxury SUVs, 90 something is the new 70 something.
10 grand cheaper than an Escalade.
And yeah, exactly. And I mean, it was definitely, I'd say it was a better cruiser than the Escalades.
Did it have the captain's chairs?
It did not have captain's chairs. It was a bench, which is weird because usually at that price point they option it with the captain's chairs.
The captain's chairs look very interesting.
It did have the pillow headrest.
On the headrest?
Yes, it did, which awesome. The most comfortable, like the Range Rovers sometimes have them, and it's incredible. It's like first class, airplane. Not that I've ever been on a first class airplane, airplane, but
what?
No, never done anything except economy. So yeah, so the X7 is very good, and that is it. And then the X7 left.
Okay.
And was replaced by
a genuinely happy car.
Yes, a very happy car that in a snowstorm looked like it did a lot of happy drugs. The Mini Cooper Clubman S.
Clubman what?
S. Like
S, okay.
Cooper S, Cooper John Cooper Works is the tiering. So this one is an automatic. It's all-wheel drive. It has barn doors, which are awesome, except for the part where you can't see fuck all out the back.
Oh no.
Like,
that bad?
I had a Tahoe with barn doors. My dad had multiple Yukons and Tahoes with barn doors. It was fine. You could still see, but the barn door just cuts off. There's so much structure there compared to how much windows on both sides, you can't see them.
Right.
I'm trying to find the window sticker, but yep, that's it. That actually might be the same car. It has some trippy wheels, I'll tell you that.
They are interesting looking wheels.
They're way too big. It rides, I mean, it's on snow tires and it's on those stupid oversized wheels. So
yeah, I want to talk about the actual holes in the front grille versus what's actually closed off.
Well, it's actually open, but that's the bumper beam behind it, like the crash
down
structure.
here.
Yeah. So it is technically open.
Yeah, because there's a big gap here for the radiator. There's a big gap up there for airflow, and then there's the bumper beam. So that makes sense.
Yep, and then the bigger gaps for the intercooler at the bottom, like
huge.
So, anyways, the Golf R, when we're just talking value propositions, Golf R, $45,000, right? It's like 300 horsepower. They've gone down in interior material quality over, from Gen 7 to 8, but the seats are amazing and it feels like a high quality product. So this Mini with its options was $44,400, which is a big number.
That's kind of reasonable, isn't it? 44
for a Mini.
But like,
it's not even. It's the like. It's.
You said it was
not
Cooper
the big
S?
engine. Yeah. It's not the big engine. It's 189 horsepower. It's like the base is 36.5, and then it's got this iconic trim package, which has dynamic damper control, which doesn't make any difference on local roads.
Right.
Performance summer tires, which obviously are not present.
Not helpful in the winter.
I will say it is very nicely equipped. Like it has a twin pane sunroof, like almost fully panoramic. It's got all the goodies you'd expect, except like radar cruise control.
So does it count as a wagon?
I think it's a wagon. Yeah,
because there's an A, B, C, and D pillar, so
it's longer than a traditional hatchback, like a Golf or anything. So
is it also shorter?
Lower, lower.
Yeah,
so
it's longer and shorter.
It's interesting because you compare it to the Golf or the Golf R, and it has less cargo room behind the third seat.
Yeah,
the second row, and when you fold the second rows, the Mini has more because it's longer.
Okay.
So it also has the Mini Untold Edition trim package.
I'm sorry.
Mini Untold, UNTOLD.
So the short story that we didn't tell anybody, like
exactly. It's Mini's. Yeah, for whatever reason, Mini decided the story they didn't tell but want to tell on this car includes 18-inch wheels, a Napa leather steering wheel. The roof is the body color. It has an aero kit, piano black exterior trim, always good piano black, dark headliner, and then it has like this weird carbon fiber aluminum finish all over the place, and then some other stupid bullshit. But it's I'm having a hard time explaining to people that it's a $45,000 car because it drives like a $30,000 Mini.
Well, it is a $30,000 Mini.
It is.
It's just for sale for $44,000. You can choose to pay it or not. But having a conversation about any price right now, I feel is difficult. There are very few vehicles that I feel like actually are priced at what their value is.
A Golf R drives like a $45,000 car, and it's linked to a car that starts in the high 20s or low 30s.
Right.
It's the same thing with the Minis, but you're not getting like this car is all about appearance and style. It's form over function in every capacity.
And we can argue that it's just okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's interesting. My wife loves it because it's like quirky and comfortable, and it's got the huge center circle thing for instead of like
the big tack or whatever.
It's not even there's an actual like digital gauge cluster behind the steering wheel that looks like it was kind of just taped on.
Okay.
But the center, what used to be the huge tack, is now actually all the infotainment stuff.
Oh, okay.
So, but it's quirky and it's different, and it's I like that it exists, but I think it makes a lot more sense at 37, or 38 without all the stupid 18-inch wheels. Minis need like 16-inch wheels. That's it. No more.
I mean, the classics were 13s.
I know. Everybody who runs autocross is on like 16s or even 17s are huge.
What is that Instagram? Fuck. Can't think of it right now. I haven't watched stuff in years. There's a well, that's not it. That's an Audi R8 race car. That's not. There is a company up in BC that like does classic Mini, like hot rodding and rebuilds, and what were those guys called?
Is that the company that did like a 500 horsepower all-wheel drive?
No, they just do. Oh man, how do you pronounce that? Steve, and then STON. So Steveston Motor Co.
Okay.
But they just do like classic behind the scene, or not behind the scenes. I'm reading a video title. They do like classic Mini builds, and they make them really, really nice. And then they're like, if you want to like do a little bit of hot rodding, they'll do some like little stuff, but they don't do like crazy. It's not like Project Binky where they're putting the Celica GT4 underneath the classic Mini. Anyway, we got off on a mini tangent.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's Mini. And tomorrow, what day is today? Today's Monday. Wednesday, the Mini leaves and the new BMW M340i gets swapped in, and I'm pretty sure it's the one that's on the Car and Driver homepage right now.
Like, okay, is it the X drive?
I don't know, but I'm looking at the pictures of the car that Car and Driver just had, and that looks like local-ish streets, like New York City.
To you?
Yeah, so it's probably that one.
The red one?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like I had the X7 and then the Mini, then another BMW. It's like, what? Like it's
if it is that car, it is the X drive.
Okay, yeah.
It's like,
in the title. I don't know if BMW likes me all of a sudden. Like I said very kind things about some cars that I've had, from them, but
yeah,
who knows? So we'll report back on that.
You're getting them, and that's what matters.
Yep. So
because eventually the M2 comp will show up for you.
Oh, yeah. That would be very nice.
Do you have anything update on the GX?
I have barely driven the GX since we last recorded.
Okay.
It has been sitting in my driveway. I have not even attempted to do the CarPlay installation yet.
Okay.
It's still sitting in the box, and
you still want to tear your dash apart again in the winter.
It's partially that, and partially just like I knew the remote start was going to take an hour or 2 hours at most, because that's like straightforward plug and play. You don't have to pull that much off, but like this is a more involved process. Okay. I'm expecting it to be like a 2.5, 3 hour job, but I don't have that kind of block of free time right now.
Well, and the GX doesn't fit in the garage, right?
Not even close.
So not only do you not have that block of time, you don't have appropriate weather to be nice enough.
Correct. Yeah. So I don't know. It's going to be in the 50s, coming up for the next couple weeks. So hopefully we'll get to it then. Other than that, the only thing is, that's it. It was really windy when I was bringing my garbage cans up the driveway the other day, and the wind blew the garbage can into the bumper. And I was like, that's why it has bumper.
I thought you were gonna tell me the airbags deployed off the garbage can lid or something.
No,
be like,
that would have been horrible.
That would be horrible.
Yeah. Hello, Iron Man.
Exactly.
Anyways, you got a lot more exciting stuff going on.
Well, we did our spring break trip.
Yeah, let's talk about what went on and then how that plays into what's coming up.
Yeah, we here, I'll share that's the image I sent you the other day when you were like, wait, what did you do?
Is that a dust off joke because you're cleaning snow off of it?
Yes, exactly.
Shoot,
no, so we took my brother-in-law, his wife, and their 2 kids who are 4 and 3, or she might be 2, still about to turn 3. But yeah, two similar in age kids, back to back in age. They are 100% the life case for once you have one kid, you need to practice some safer measures to make sure you don't get a second kid, right? Like the second kid they eventually wanted, just not that fast. And when they got her, they were like, we're done forever now, which I completely understand. But they're both 4 and 3. Like they are not shy about it. As toddlers are like that. But they flew in, and then because they live in Florida, they flew to Kansas City, and then we both drove out to Colorado together. So they had never been out to the Rocky Mountains before. So it was really just a trip designed to get them out there and to have those kind of initial experiences out in the mountains. We rented a house together. Turns out the house was at 10,000 feet. Do
you know that prior?
We knew it was up there. We've stayed at 9,000 plus before fairly routinely and not had many issues. This time it just hit me so hard the first day we were out there.
10's high. That's
and I worked in Estes for 2 summers living at 9,900 feet, but I was also 20 and 21 years old. Now I'm twice as old as that. And so part of the trip was me understanding, I have to take better precautions for myself. I spent most of probably 3/4 to 5/6 of a day just kind of laid up and adjusting myself, which kind of sucked. My wife knew I was better because the house we stayed at had Netflix, and so I was watching Burt Kreischer's latest special, and I was just laughing my ass off. And she's like, "Okay, you feel better now?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do actually. I do feel better." So thank you, Burt. You brought me out of it. But no, that's not the. But we drove both vehicles out, cargo carrier on top of the Suburban. Have we talked about taking the leveling kit off?
We talked about
on the
it
show.
No, we talked about it in a chat with
Okay.
Robbie and Camille.
So for the listeners and the viewers, I did take the leveling kit off the Suburban. There was a noise in the front end that I hunted for a better part of a year. The noise started fairly quickly once we put the leveling kit on, and I could just not track it down. Taking it off, I think we determined that the bushing at the bottom of the left front shock was kind of sliding back and forth on the piece that
back and forth.
Yeah, I know. I made sure to not do it towards my mouth.
Yeah.
That, and then there's this and the bushing. No,
the shake weight, the shock,
exactly.
Yeah.
But I think that's what the noise was. Excuse me, I'll cut that out. And then taking it off, it moves that shock mount kind of back inside of the control arm now, and so it can't move forward and back on there. And so the noise, by raising it up the way we did, it allowed it to move, and so that's gone. So
but only
that's
on the
why
left side. That's so interesting.
Yeah, only on the left side. The right side one never made the noise, or maybe it did and I just didn't notice. Because the left one was so loud. But so there's the rake is back to the Suburban. I'm not thrilled with the way it looks. Eventually I'll try to find another way to raise the front end without having to move the bottom of the shock, keeping the shock kind of down there in that position. Maybe I'll just do a 2-inch disc on top of the shock mount. Yeah, and then I had it once we got the leveling kit off. I went and took it and got it aligned again, and it was out on 7 of the 8 measurements.
Not surprising.
And I was like, yeah, I just took a leveling kit off. So Suburban went, it was mostly fine. It does have a random misfire check engine light every now and then. And I got a solid check engine light on the way out back. I haven't determined what that is yet. And the reason I haven't determined that is we also drove the Sequoia, which is about to head out to Utah with Rogue Overland for the rally. And the brakes started to get a little lungy. So some rotors were getting warped. So it's actually in with the dealer right now. The brakes need to be addressed. I did purchase new front springs to take care of it's almost an inch droop on the driver's side compared to the passenger side.
OEM springs?
Yeah,
Okay.
Exactly. I was like, I'm not messing with anything right now. I don't want to. So the springs will get on, they'll get that aligned. And then it started, and literally in that image I was sharing, and I can pull it back up, when it was parked in this position, it's really nose heavy here. And it was parked the rest of the week where the Suburban was. So we had the Suburban nose heavy up there and the Sequoia parked relatively flat most of the week. For whatever reason, when it was nose heavy here, it just pissed the car off. And so
weird.
When we turned it back on, it did start. It drove, cruise control worked, no issues that we can see to actually driving the vehicle, like 4 high still engaged, going back to 2 still engaged. But there
How cold was it?
It was incredibly cold. It was like 1.
And you drove through like snow and whatnot?
Yeah, multiple times drove through snow. Most of the week was like full on winter condition. Like every morning we woke up and there was like 1 inch to 1.5 inches to almost 2 inches of snow on both vehicles. So
yeah, I'm reading air injection pump. If water gets inside of it, it sets off VSC, traction, and check engine light, mainly on 2007 to 2011.
So maybe that's what it is.
There is a bypass kit. You can also try disconnecting your battery for like an hour.
That's probably what I needed to do.
Yeah. Anyways, who knows? Let the pros deal with it.
Yeah. So it's in for that. It's in for the brakes. It's in for the springs. We'll see what that number comes out to. Hopefully it's not awful. But the overall trip, like both vehicles were great. And like that happened literally like the day before we were headed back. Both vehicles were fantastic in the mountains and the snow. I've driven both of them multiple times up there. Still a big fan of those Vredestein tires in the snow. Like my brother-in-law was putting the Sequoia in like 4 high, and I drove to the cabin in like rear wheel drive. Like it just now I'm used to doing loose snow driving all the time, and he got much better while we were out there because you got a bunch of experience doing it. But even the paved road like up to the cabin, so it was mostly gravel to the cabin, but there was a paved road most of the way. And one time I saw him come down one of the switchbacks, and I was like, pretty sure he's sliding right now. Just like he'd come in a little hot. I saw the truck just kind of slide around the corner a little bit, and he powered right out of it. No big deal.
You have to.
Yeah,
that is one thing, man.
He's used to driving a Sierra 2500, so like he's used to weight transfer. That's not that big a deal for him.
Yeah. I really wish there was a way to decouple the front axle on the GX so it would be rear wheel drive.
So you could slide a little bit.
Yeah, I was talking to Kurt about that. Kits exist for like the 470s, and you could swap an FJ Cruiser transfer case in, but it is like uncharted territory.
Yeah, let's let some famous YouTuber do that, and then we'll buy the kit.
Precisely.
Yeah. Other than that, I was like in my head the whole time, like just kind of watching the Sequoia, figuring it out, like things I want to do. I've done the layout on how I want to camp and sleep out of it. I acquired a 12-volt fridge freezer. I am not sure what brand name it is. It was not expensive.
I don't think brand name.
Yeah.
Or name brand. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's definitely not name brand.
Dude, if it gets the job done, it gets the job done.
Well, and that's like I read the reviews, and everybody was like, I've been using this for this many months, and it's been it's been perfect for me. The part that like what did Ron ask me? Ron asked me if it senses like if the battery's getting low, then I can just run it off the car battery, and then the fridge will cut out and it'll be fine because it'll be cool temps anyway.
Yep.
I don't know if it has that ability or not. So because of that, I also sourced a power station. I think it's a Westinghouse model, and it's God. I just did this with you, didn't I? We were starting to talk about it, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I looked it up because you start searching for things in like watt hours, like how many. Because I think the fridge in eco mode is 40 watts, and so the power station is 592 watt hours. So
know what this means?
Do what?
I'm pretending I know what any of this means.
I don't know either. I'm assuming that at 40 watts, I can divide that into the watt hour number and know how many hours the battery pack will run the fridge. I think that's the correct math. I'm sure that there will be somebody who will correct us on that. Yeah. So if that's the case, if the fridge is running at 40 watts, we'll just go ahead and round up to 600. It should last what is that? 1 and 10 and 12. Oh my God. Where's my calculator? I suck at this. I'm going to get the actual number now because it's 592 watts. I picked the calendar.
Nice.
Why does the calendar and the calculator look the same? Little dot buttons. That was dumb. So it's 592 watt hours, 40 watts is the fridge. Should get me about 14 and a half hours of battery life.
Okay.
And what my plan is while the truck is running to pull the DC out of the power port or the personal or the whatever our unit, plug it into the truck while the truck is running, run it off the truck while the truck is running, and then put it back into the battery. I don't know. Jeff and I were discussing it of like how he runs his fridge, and he has Dometic fridge and Dometic battery, which makes it way easier for him. And he has, I think, a solar panel that plugs in while they're camping to recharge the battery as well. Nice. And I think this battery bank has the ability to do solar. I didn't purchase solar yet. It's interesting to me. The road trip is different in how I'm doing my math, because typically my trips are 2 to 3 days. And this is going to be like a solid 4 or 5 days where I was looking at things. I was like, yeah, those battery packs will last 2 days. Like that'll be super easy. But I'm like, crap, there's 2 more days to the trip though.
Do you have are you bringing fuel?
I did buy a 5-gallon jerry can. Okay. The range estimates I've seen per day range estimates between Phillips were 250 miles.
What the
The trip is, yeah.
Okay.
So between fuel stops is 250 miles.
That's
Sequoia is interesting on that. So that's why
yeah.
the 5-gallon jerry can was purchased. It will be filled.
Yeah, and 4 low is gonna really.
We're gonna find out. So
gonna be. Yep. Okay. All right.
So
Are you...
in the trip prep that I've seen, in my I love this about the road guys is they've named all the different groups like squadrons, because I come to find out, I don't know how many times we've talked to Nick and interacted with Nick. I didn't know Rogue Overland was Star Wars reference.
I didn't either.
That reminds me, I got to buy my t-shirt. One of the days on the trip is a Star Wars day. Nice. I haven't bought my t-shirt yet. But I'm in Red Squadron, which I'm very excited for, but I'm Red 9. I was like, that's not even a good one.
Nope.
I don't get to check in. But in my group, there is an F-250 as well. So size-wise on the trip, I'm like, okay, I know I'm not the biggest.
Right. Short of like total vehicular destruction. Like if he fits, you're going to fit.
That's kind of like... And I remember I learned that from that rally down in Southern Missouri. Like I don't now say like, will I make it? I'll say, will I fit? Because I can make it. Well, I'm gonna damage the truck a little bit. Will I fit without damaging the truck? Is what it'll be.
The caveat is how many body panels?
Exactly. And so the goal is to be low and not mess up anything. I'll tell you about some other stuff off air in a little bit along those lines as well. I don't really want to get into it. Oh, boy. So it'll raise way too many questions. So yeah, fridge is here. Power station is on the way. There's a worn shackle that arrived. There's supposed to be a factor 55 piece to go with it, but I think they're having some delays, and so it hasn't. I am getting nervous that it'll get here in time because we're about a week in a couple of days from getting in the truck at 5 a.m. and driving to Moab. I did do a bunch of like driving on I-70 between like Idaho Springs and Copper Mountain, and I was just like, this better be clear, because I'm going to leave early enough in the day that I'm going to basically get to Denver by midday. And so that way I only have to power through like the Rockies and like the evening twilight hours and hopefully get to Grand Junction where things clear up by like before sundown. Like I don't want to be driving through the Rockies. I've driven enough in the Rockies at night on 70 that I know I don't want to do that and have a late spring snowstorm also come in. Jesus, I want to do, if I have to do that, I want to do it during the daylight hours.
Seriously, that sounds like a hellish time.
Right. And so I got really good at that section between Idaho Springs and Copper, because the house was north of Idaho Springs, which is hilarious, by the way. If you like Google restaurants, like if you're like, when we were at the cabin, we were like, by the way, no cell coverage, only Wi-Fi, which the Wi-Fi was great, actually. I even did some like work meetings while I was up there. But we would like Google restaurants and they'd be like, oh, this one's 7 miles away. And I'd be like, oh, check it out. Like, this looks fantastic. Winter Park is 7 miles away as the crow flies. It's a solid hour and a half drive, because you got to drive the 30 minutes back to 70 to then go up the exit to go up over Bertha to get into town. Google Maps in the mountains can be a little tricky sometimes. Definitely watch out for that. Let's see what else. Any other prep that I've got going for that? I did get tie rods. Factory tie rods available just in case one breaks. My favorite part of the Rogue like prep is like, hey, bring spares. Even if you don't know what you're doing, somebody on the trip will. Like, we have enough experience overall to fix trucks that don't feel like an idiot, but bring the spare. So I talked to the guys at Tandem Off Road, and they were like, tie rods every single time. And he talked about potentially taking a CV.
That's what I said.
And I agree with you, but like, I'm not going to go source an axle right now. I just don't have time.
I mean, you could probably get like a repro for like $75.
And I feel like Napa and Moab probably has some Sequoia CV somewhere. Like, if it's really that bad.
Yeah, that's true. That is a good point. I don't know.
That makes me think now. I'm like, wait, is there a Napa in Moab?
Yeah, right. I'm sure there's some kind of parts store, but because it's the same, it would theoretically be the same front axles as like a Tundra, so it's got to be pretty standard,
right?
Yeah, I've been putting off ordering a replacement front just to have.
There is Canyonlands Napa Auto Parts.
As you'd expect.
Good. Well, the last time I drove through Moab, I didn't realize it was there. And I'm not sure where I'm going to stay the night before. I don't know if I'm just going to trust Overlander and pick a spot because there's BLM land all over the place out there and just camp one night before it even starts, or if I'm going to go. I know a guy who I've talked a little bit, and he's got some space. He's like, yeah, you can just crash here if you feel like it. But I 100% know his property is not within a cell signal. So it's just kind of up to me on like what I want to experience.
What you're comfortable with.
Yeah. And then I think the first couple of days is trails in and around Moab. And then we head out towards Capitol Reef.
Yep.
I always forget how to spell Capitol Reef. Yeah. It's got an O. It's not the A.
It's an A or an O.
It's an O. Yeah. But I'm actually really so the last time I was in Utah, we were in southern Utah. We did all that stuff. I did not go towards Capitol Reef at all. Okay. So we did Bryce and we did North Rim and then the Grand Staircase. The Grand Staircase Escalante. Yeah. Couple 3 days there. And then the Coral Pink Sand Dunes State Park, which that was really cool while I was out there. But Capitol Reef is going to be it. I didn't realize it was a national park. I thought it was like a U.S. monument type thing, but it is its own national park. We are there at the same time as Easter Jeep.
It could be a clusterfuck.
Well, and I think that's why we're headed out towards Capitol Reef, because I don't think Easter Jeep goes that way.
Oh, that would make sense.
So the first couple of days is technically before Easter Jeep has started.
Right.
So we'll be out there a little bit and then do the things we need to do in and around Moab, and then vacate that area, let the Jeeps take over.
Well, it's like any Jeeps in the Rogue group.
Oh, that's a great question.
We've talked about Nissans and Toyotas and Ford pickups. I don't think.
I know there are a number of Xterras.
Good, as there should be.
Where did my bookmark go? I know how to get in here now. The glory of it is it's like it's a password protected like forum.
That's so funny.
Which I love, because then I don't have to worry about anybody else talking about it.
Right.
Where are the squadrons?
Facebook.
So let's see here. Why? And I will say I do struggle with it was in my email. I just got an email from him today. Where'd it go?
We can circle back on this.
No, I feel dumb right now. Okay. So Taco, Bronco, Wrangler, Xterra, Colorado, Xterra.
Okay.
Blank. Xterra, Frontier, Taco, Xterra, F-250. That's my boy. Xterra, Tacoma, and then Sequoia with me. Xterra, Wrangler, Taco, 4Runner, FJ, Gladiator, Ram 2500.
Baller. I wonder if it's a power wagon.
I don't know. Via Cross.
Fuck yes.
Which I'm pretty sure is the same Via Cross that Andy and Mercedes were with on that rally.
Yep.
And I've already sent him a note and be like, see shortly.
That's awesome.
And then another Bronco
on the show.
Yeah, I'll definitely that's like something I am going to try and do is talk to people and just we might do an episode that's just short interviews with people and their setups, so they can kind of talk it through. And then looks like Via Cross, Tacoma, Bronco, Xterra, AEV, Rubicon,
nice,
Frontier, and that's it.
A lot of Nissan.
Well, it's Rogue.
Right, yeah,
it's
exactly.
So
cool. That sounds good. That's a good mix,
And I think Nick is in his Xterra, not his NV van.
Okay.
That they've kitted out. So
yeah.
I think the guys leading are it's an Xterra, a 4Runner, and something else.
Okay. That would make sense for those guys.
Right.
Cool. Sounds like a good time.
So yeah, I think it's going to be a great time. I'm very looking forward to it. it's the first like real like overland trip for me where we're actually in, like, when I go out with Ron and Brett and those guys and Kyle, like, we camp by a state lake.
Mm-hmm.
There are lots of back roads, and it's, to be honest, very calming and chill. But like, there are no obstacles that we have to go over.
Right.
Like, there might be a minimum maintenance road that is a disaster, which there was a trip that I missed because I had something going on, and those guys went 200 feet down a dirt road that was just a mud grease road, and they spent an entire day getting everyone back those 200 feet. Like,
man,
they talk about it as like an epic battle.
Yeah,
I was like, it's just a dirt road, guys. What are you doing?
I feel the pain. Facebook reminded me of a trip I was on like 3 days ago. Reminded me of a trip in the white Forerunner where it was like 18 inches of snow, and it was
gross.
Like, I've never ever been that sore from digging and like trudging through snow, pulling cable. It was fun.
Yeah,
that one was not good.
Not good.
No,
it's fine.
No. Broke the truck. I was broken from the day. It was. But
yeah. So my plan right now is full day drive out, 4 days of rally, full day drive back.
Okay. Solid.
We'll see how tired I get. There might be some pit stops on the way back.
Yeah.
We'll make it work.
Yep.
But yeah, because I gotta work. I gotta do job stuff.
Yep.
So I am actually going to like take days. Like, it's been a while since I've done that, and actually just do like driving off road. But it's for the podcast, so like it's never just go and enjoy something. There's always an ulterior motive with this stuff of like, what else can I do while I'm there? So I am planning to talk to as many people there as I can find time without bugging people. And then I'll definitely sit down with Nick and maybe one or two other bro guys and just kind of talk it out, see what they've been up to.
Yeah, cool. Sounds like it'll be
Sweet.
a good time.
Yeah.
So.
Do you want me to wrap it up?
yeah. It's getting late on the East Coast, and I still got some work to do.
So I'll remind people that you can rate and review us wherever you listen to podcasts. Our hosting site has now been, it was previously purchased by Spotify, but now it's just called Spotify. So if you're listening to us on Spotify or somewhere else, like, go ahead and hit that follow button. That would be great, because we can actually see that number now, and we can use it to help maybe entice some advertisers to go on the show and help us make a little bit of money for what we have been doing free for going on 3 years now.
We got like fucking 500 hours of podcasting.
Yeah, so if you have a Spotify account, even if you listen on your iPhone through Apple Podcasts or somewhere else, like, just smash that follow button on Spotify.
I don't think I've actually done that.
Yeah, Ross, you haven't followed our own show on Spotify yet, so and it's more than like, it's a triple digit number of followers already. Like, it was more than I expected there to be. So do me a favor, pop over to Spotify. You can still like and subscribe on YouTube. Ross finally follows us. I made my kids follow us. That's not true. I haven't made any of them follow us.
I can't even see, like, it doesn't show like reviews or anything.
I don't think we have any actual reviews on Spotify. All of our reviews that I've seen have been on Apple Podcasts.
That could be why.
So there are many nice things that people have said. And some of the people I've interacted with on the Overland Rally forum, they're like, I know who you are. I can't wait to talk to you.
That's awesome.
So that's like, that's fun to just meet new people and talk about the stuff. And so one thing I will say is, like, you and I are trying to set things up to maybe get a little more out there and do some interaction stuff. I know I signed up for the spring rally for the Midwest Automotive Writers, or Midwest Automotive Media Association. Mama. And so I'm going back to Road America.
Ooh.
So the only downside, though, is there were track drives, and then there were track drives, and then off-road drives are on the same day.
Ooh, dagger.
I'm gonna go do the off-road stuff, but I want to.
Yeah, you kind of obligated to.
If there's something cool there, we'll figure it out. Anyway, that's our show.
Right. Maybe when I go to the New York Auto Show, I'll go through this stupid little Jeep thing.
Yes, you should. You can follow the show Or you can follow Hooniverse, the Hooniverse on Twitter, the Real Hooniverse on Instagram. Ross is No Not Like the One for Friends. I'm Matt Overlandy Dad, and that's it. We did it.
Cool. Bye.